Rick
Happy
here.
Friday.
It's Faz time.
Fazalicious.
Faz time. What's up, sir? How's
Hanging
your week
out, being cool, looking good. So the only notable for this week is yesterday, my lovely wife had her 50th. And she wasn't happy, of course.
You're younger than me.
She wasn't happy, yeah.
Younger than you.
So I reassured her, and I told her, I said, you don't have anywhere near as many wrinkles as I thought you'd have at 50. And
you said half century. That's a good age.
she's taking it like a champ. The decades hit me hard. When I hit 50, the decade 40 hit me hard, 30 hit me hard, 50 hit me pretty hard. Yeah, because I realized, I was like, wow, that's a long freaking time on this planet.
I'm still in disbelief. I mean, I'm 51, and I'm just like, really? I mean, every day I'm just like, really? No. Okay, I guess that's 50. Really?
50 is a long time.
Well, you're like 53, aren't you?
I will be 53 in about 2.5 weeks.
Well, if you remember Dukes of Hazzard, Roscoe P. Coltrane, he was 53 years old. So you're the old sheriff now.
Yeah.
He was older than Boss Hogg.
The sheriff in town. So, speaking of sheriffs who enforce the law, we have a very big law enforcement czar who, depending on who you listen to, could either be the actual enforcer or someone who's pretending to want to grab all that power. Depends how you look at it.
According to, I just saw a tweet. According to the SEC chief from back during the first Bush administration, I forgot his name. He just died the other day. They mentioned in one of his tweets that he had said the SEC makes an enforcement action. Basically, they put out an enforcement action, and then the courts decide whether that's valid. So, you know, the SEC can't make the rules. They can simply suggest that the rules might be broken, and then it's the court that decides whether the rules are actually broken. So this SEC chief, Gary Gensler, seems to think that the very act of accusation is enough. And he's been quoted as, you know, people are like, hey, you know, how do we know the rules of the road? And he has actually said things like, well, you've seen other lawsuits. What when we labeled something a security, so you know from these other lawsuits, you know what a security is and what it isn't. Apparently that's enough for him. But those other lawsuits are accusations only, especially if you're pointing to ones that aren't done. These things take years to wind through court.
So the biggest bomb to drop with this whole Coinbase and Binance US thing is they have a recording from Gensler last year when he was testifying, where he said right on the record that the SEC does not have the enforcement ability for exchanges because Congress has not authorized that. So that is a really, really big bombshell that judge is not going to be able to challenge at this point. They're going to challenge it instantly and say, look, he even knew he couldn't regulate these exchanges without an act of Congress. Congress hasn't done anything. We don't even have a case here.
I thought that they came back and said that was Gary Gensler's opinion and not of the SEC. See, they keep doing this with Hinman and with all the things that their lawyers said in the XRP Ripple case, was that all these SEC people can say, this is my opinion, but the SEC doesn't agree. Well, what does the SEC feel like? Because, I mean, They've also said that the things Hinman said is it was his opinion. It wasn't his opinion. It was opinion of the department he was in, but not of the SEC.
Well, and they have also said with that the SEC is claiming he was supposed to give a different speech and went on his own and went off that script when he made the comments that he made at that speech. So they're trying to hedge their bets the best they can. That's why they had been pushing for, the SEC has been pushing for that to be tagged as a personal speech, not a official SEC speech.
Well, the problem with the Ripple case is the SEC has been contradicting themselves in the case so much that the judge reprimanded them for it.
Right. Yeah, it's a bad look, and really it does. And you said this the last time we did a really deep dive on this, maybe 8 months ago. You made a very valid point in that the whole blame for all of this, it goes directly to Congress, because Congress is the one that has to make the determination on who can oversee this and when they can oversee it. And then once that's handed to them, once that's granted to the SEC, they can then craft rules around it. But Congress has been sitting on their hands doing nothing but trying to make headlines.
Right,
with
and
statements.
which means if there's no rules, then it's the Wild West, and the Wild West basically means then somebody can just come and say something. The SEC can simply just say shit, and then people have to go by that until they're proven wrong. That's the problem. And so they're saying stuff that they know is wrong, that they know somehow get overturned, but then they're going all the way to the mat on this crazy shit with the XRP Ripple stuff, over all this crazy stuff that they say. They're going all the way to the mat to somehow assert that they have the power that they don't. They're just trying to see what sticks.
Well, that's what the majority of lawsuits does anyway, right? So you don't go any crime, right? You go after somebody for murder. You say this person did this with this weapon, with this motive. That's what we believe. And it's up to the jury then to decide if that's right. Or in this case, with crypto, it's up to the judge to decide whether those are valid claims.
Yeah, but
so you're right. They're just throwing shit up there to see what sticks.
But generally in the case, my understanding is that, and I'm not a lawyer, is that you press a case saying that they did this with this weapon and in this room with Colonel Mustard and stuff like that. But then as the case has been going on with the XRP case, my observation is that they keep switching weapons and switching people until they think that they're getting somewhere.
Well, and
which
judges
I thought is a no-no, or just makes you look stupid.
Well, we've discussed this ad nauseum too about the securities laws being so broad on purpose, right? So that they can suck in as much as they possibly can to see if they can get a precedent set so that can be,
and that's how you grab power.
Used going forward, right? So the big problem with that is that this isn't like an orange grove, which is where the original Howey test came from, was from an orange grove. And defining investment contract in crypto is tough. They're even trying to get a ruling that a smart contract is indicative of a investment contract.
Well, yeah, they're trying wordplay and everything else too, even in the XRP Ripple case. So they're being so shameless about it that they're looking really stupid, but they don't care because they can spend as much money and as much time as they need to prosecute a case, and they have infinite resources, which makes me interested about how it's going to work with Binance, because Ripple has been holding off the SEC for $150 million for the last 2 years. Well, Binance just said that they'll dedicate $1 billion to it. That means they can drag it out for as long as they need to drag it out. But
so I did post
that. What's that?
I posted that yesterday in CFA. I got an email from Binance US. They are going to be crypto only as of the 13th. And they're saying...
Note the date.
Yeah. wait, we can get into that, but there's a lot more. So as of the 13th, they're going to suspend incoming and outgoing ACH transfers. They're saying it's because the banking partners are under pressure from the SEC to stop that. So it's not something that they're doing voluntarily. This is their banking partners are saying, we're not going to process your stuff anymore. So the bankers are now tucked up under Gary's wings. All right. You also have some other events happening on the 16th. Where did I see that? The 16th, somebody else is stopping it too. I just saw that tweet when I got home from work today. There's another major player that's going to stop on the 16th. They're really pushing narratives hardcore on this. They're trying to just squeeze things out, and somebody compared the Binance lawsuit and the Coinbase lawsuit and the tokens they said were securities. They're not the same on both platforms. They're just trying to create so much fear that people will stop doing it. They're closing the banks down so people will stop doing it. We said this a year ago on our cast. That's the way they're going to attack this, is they're going to create so much fear and confusion that people are just going to go, psh, don't need it.
Well,
they just want to wear people down.
And in my case, as with a lot of people in crypto, I'll hold it all the way down to zero and wait for it to rise from its ashes, which it will. In my opinion, the crypto and NFTs being part of crypto, represents a new way of owning and transferring value that is very valuable. Yes, it is valuable to use United States banknotes, but it is valuable to not use them too. And the problem is the U.S. wants the entire value area. They don't want you to have any sort of note that has a value like cash, because they want to own the whole concept of cash. And I think that's going away. And again, transferring value like NFTs. With an NFT, you can encapsulate value that isn't cash. You can encapsulate gain, like how much time you spent on a game. You can encapsulate that in an NFT. That has value that cannot be captured by dollars.
That's very true. They don't want the competition against anything that the central bank. Look, so they call him Goldman Gary, right? He spent his entire career prior to this in banking. He's part of the elite banking system. And now suddenly he's at the SEC, and now he's trying to help those people who made him what he is today.
Well, help. I mean, that's if that's his all of his friends, his entire support system, that's how he works. That's how he's going to get power. So of course, that's how he gets his job done, is through those banking people.
It's not looking good. And I think that they don't have a valid fair shot, because people like us, most people who are actually into crypto, not your fly-by-nights, not your people that come in and throw $1,000 at the Pepe coin or Dogecoin to try and get rich quick. The true crypto people know better. We're not taking big hits. Bitcoin didn't drop to 10,000 because of this. Ethereum didn't drop to 50 cents because of this. Even with the tokens they named aren't dropping by more than 3 or 4%. So that sends a message back that there's a lot of people like you and I are talking right now, and it's like, we're not going anywhere. You can do whatever you want to do. We're not going anywhere.
Well, so what I think is going to happen personally is they're going to tighten it more and more and more in the United States, and then eventually all the business is going to go overseas, and then they're going to make a lot of money doing that. And then the United States, after a period of time, which I don't know how long that'll be, they're going to try to get something else going. And after a while, they're going to find a way to bring it back, because that's where the money is. And when they bring it back, that's when all the people that are currently in crypto in the United States will wind up making money. But until then, you'll probably have to go overseas just to cash. Like I might have to go overseas to sell an NFT and collect money on it.
Well, that they're going to make that very difficult as well. They've already years ago they already managed to get the numbered Swiss bank accounts turned around. They're going to do the same for crypto. And if you go overseas, they're going to be monitoring you. And they're going to know your addresses, and they're going to be monitoring. They can get into your phone now. We all know that.
Well, wait a minute. Okay, no, there's more to it than that. Like, for example, if you want to, it used to be, if you wanted to go smoke weed, you had to go to Amsterdam. Okay. Are you saying now you can smoke weed in various cities in the United States, which is good. However, if you were to fly to Amsterdam, smoke some weed and come back, even though it's against U.S. federal law, you're not going to get charged. That's because law has to do with location. Are you saying that there's a bunch of laws saying that if you were to go overseas and sell something and collect money for it, that's against the law?
They will freeze your Tether or USDC wallet address. I guarantee it.
When you're overseas.
If you do a transaction and then come back and they discover that, I bet you they would freeze it.
Well, I'm thinking if you sold something for Bitcoin or you sold your Bitcoin for $10,000 and then sent your US dollars back, I mean,
your US dollars at $10,000, you're going to have a tracer on that, and they're going to be asking you questions because it's over the limit, remember?
And you'd say, hey, it's perfectly legal to sell Bitcoin in this country.
I'm telling you, they're going to find a way to seize those assets. That's my opinion. I think if they take it to that level, they will absolutely do that.
Well,
or they will tax it to death. They'll just say there's an 80% tax on proceeds of overseas crypto transactions.
Or say
and if they catch you,
or say that you're money laundering. You went overseas to get this money.
Yeah, and they will. I mean, that's the same thing as the drug trade, right? Just because you go to Colombia and make a drug transaction, the minute you walk back into the U.S., you're going to be arrested. So I don't think if they really took it to that level, I think people would leave and not come back.
Well,
I think this country would vanish.
If Bitcoin went to just Bitcoin, if Bitcoin went to $1 million per Bitcoin and the United States made it like permanently illegal, fuck yeah, I'd leave the United States. It'd be like, okay, so I can have more buying power over in other countries anyway. For $1 million.
I do think if you haven't listened to Faz and I over the last 2 years, where we've said about 4,000 times, get your shit off the exchanges. If you've never listened to us about that, now would be a really good time to listen to us. Go to an exchange, make a transaction, pull it back out. Do not leave anything on exchanges. It could be any exchange. It could be that quick that things get frozen. Just do the right thing. So what do you think that these cases have any merit, or is this just posturing?
Well, until a court case proves these enforcement actions valid, they don't have very much merit. I mean, I'd like to see what they're using is a theory that crypto is a security. Okay, fine. The problem is the zone in which they're doing it. I mean, it's like, again, you can smoke weed in one U.S. state but not smoke it in another U.S. state. Right now, does the United States say that crypto is illegal? Crypto is not dollars. Well, the SEC is trying to assert a new theory to say, I don't care what it is. We're technology neutral. Whatever you're doing, if it's a security, like it's a security. Well, these people who say that they're not technology neutral are allowing other things to be fine if they're allowing other technological things to get a pass, but they're not consistent with their own descriptions with things. And so a lot of their descriptions don't make sense. they need a court case to prove beyond a reasonable doubt that it's okay, this kind of thing is illegal, or this is the actual interpretation. And yes, I get my non-lawyer self, I get the idea where they're saying, yes, if you treat anything like a security, it's a security. But John Deaton has said there's not a single case since the SEC came about that says oranges are a security. You can treat an orange as a security, but oranges are not. And they're trying to say oranges are a security. Crypto is a security. So that's, if they can pin that down to that being a security, that's groundbreaking. I mean, that's going to just lead the whole future.
So Jesse said it very well when he came on. You can have something be a security at issue and not be a security later on in the secondary market.
Yes, but
conversely,
who decides?
Well, conversely, you can have a fair launch that's determined to be a security later based on what the centralized entity does to it after it's issued and how they use it, such as like for pre-funding or pre-sales or things like that. It can turn a non-security into a security.
So here's the thing. If you have
it's how it's used.
So here's the thing. Who gets to decide that? This is rhetorical. Who gets to decide that and when? Because what the SEC can always come back and say, you were a security for 5 days, thus we're going to sue you for those 5 days, and then request these remedies that you need to actually change some things and so on. Even if you're not a security afterward, they could say you're security now. In fact, you're always on trial, so to speak, because they could say at any time, yeah, apparently you're a security now. Why? And boy, wouldn't it be nice if there were just a set of rules that if you just abided by these 4 or 5 things, that you'd never be a security. People, that's how businesses flourish, is they know the rules and they can act within them. But if you're always guessing what the rules are, businesses can't flourish. And so that's why they do what they do. They don't want businesses to be sure about what's going on with crypto, and that's how they curtail growth in the crypto area. And that's how the U.S. government keeps the U.S. dollar worth more, because the SEC is intentionally keeping things vague under the guise of making things more clear.
Good point. That's a very good point.
And go ahead.
No, I was going to say, and that is exactly where the Coinbase side of this is going, because Brian, the CEO there, is basically saying, no, we're not stopping staking. No, we're not doing this. No, we're not doing that until we get a court-issued document that says we have to. And that's where people came out of the woodwork. Well, you delisted XRP when they got sued, and they're saying he's talking out of both sides of his face.
Well, I think, okay, so with the XRP thing, I'm going to give them, Coinbase, a bit of a break, because that was the first time that something like that had come up, something notable had come up, and they said, you know what, we're going to do this, and we're going to wait till the court case is done with, and then we're going to relist it. All this stuff has happened since then, and now all these other coins, and they don't want to just stop every single coin when that happens. So they just drew a line. They're like, okay, well, we did it with XRP. We're not going to do it with anything more, because the XRP case is wrapping up soon.
Let's hope. Now, the other side of that is your Binance side, right? And you have these allegations against CZ that he took billions of dollars and washed it through companies that he owned, and they don't know what happened to some of the money, and they can't find some of the money, and yada, yada, yada. If that's true, it's like the FTX part of it. I would agree that something has to be done about that. But just because they're running an exchange, I don't see the basis of anything changing.
So here's the thing: is you can actually say a lot of. I mean, I would suppose that they're using money laundering, the money laundering charge. You can say something is money laundering if you somehow lose traceability on that. If Binance ever worked with Tornado Cash or anything like that, they can say because they anonymized the money, or because they made it untraceable, therefore it's laundered.
The other side of that is they are saying that Binance, not Binance US, but Binance themselves did the wink wink with the KYC requirements. Nope, sorry, you don't have the documentation, but if you used a VPN, we wouldn't know the difference, wink wink, and let a lot of people on board, hundreds of thousands of people on board with bullshit KYC. That's another big part of this lawsuit.
Okay, gee, if only there was a rule that was published that they could follow. There is no, and so remember now that I saw a tweet about this too. Remember now that we have, just like China, there's the Great Wall of China where everything's been filtered and people have to use VPNs to get around it. Now the United States wants to have a Great Wall of the United States where people cannot go to other countries and do stuff like, do things like that too. So we're kind of starting to do what we decry of other countries. But it makes a certain amount of sense. I understand that that Binance should probably work a little bit harder with the VPN, but at least be consistent. Can you do this VPN with other things besides banking? Can you do it with video games? Can you do it with videos? Can you do it with other things? Oh my God, you can do it with like a whole bunch of stuff. So now what rule do you need to follow? Is this a banking rule? Is this an exchange rule? Is this a general when you go over the internet kind of rule? I would think maybe it's like some sort of banking rule, but exchanges aren't banks, and exchanges aren't stock exchanges.
This is a perfect dovetail, right? So the other article that you posted that I found really fascinating is that over in Europe, they're fast tracking crypto regulations, and they're expecting to have full regulations decided within 12 months, according to that article. Okay.
So yeah, that's a big difference in how half of the world is going.
Well, and so that what you just said was part of that article, in that they're going to give those regulations that will apply not only to the crypto exchanges but to the banks as well. And that would be huge, right? Because there would be clarity and banks would have the ability to custody it. And that's their biggest fear is the banks are saying, hey, you can't cut us out of the financial system here. So they're tailoring a lot of that to make, now it's going to suck for retail. All right. They're going to make it suck for retail. But the banks being included will, I think, open up the rails 100 times more. And I was just gonna end with, even if that means you've got to pay that bank a 2% fee to conduct a crypto transaction, they'll be happy.
Okay, so that's fine if the banks custody crypto, because the whole point of crypto is that you are actually able to custody it yourself, and you're actually able to do these things yourself. It's kind of like, you can drive a car or ride a bicycle, or you can get on a bus. You can do both. It's not like you should only ride buses in the world. Well, it shouldn't be that the only place you could put your money is in a bank.
Well, that's a great point, because here's the thing. Banks are going away anyway. The boomers are the last generation that understand the traditional banking system and want to be a part of it. Our generation and everybody behind us, they don't need banks. They have Cash App. They have Strike. They have online banking. You can go to Robinhood and do your banking through there. But the banks are colluding with the big payroll companies, and they're restricting what you can do.
Let's make some things clear. First of all, I want to make sure that we're talking about the same things, because when you use a credit card, you're ultimately using a bank. When you use debit card, you're using a bank. And whenever right now, we don't need dollar bills in this world, because we could just go and slap down a card and get food and services. Now, the bummer about that is if you use a credit card or a debit card or something like that, that account can get locked. Even if you use a burner card, that account can get locked. When you have cash, dollars in your hand, that can't get locked. So that's the neat thing about crypto is it's the same as cash because you have something that can't be locked.
It can be if you're
certain ones,
yeah.
certain ones like USDC and Tether maybe, but
Right.
but Bitcoin can't be locked. So that's what people want. They want that freedom to where they're not required to go into a bank. And this dovetails to something that you tweeted, which is about not being able to get into a grocery store unless you scanned your phone scan something to get in the door.
Yeah,
that basically
says
to me you need an account with that grocery store with your name and address in order to enter the store. Mm-hmm. But the funny thing about that is whenever you buy anything from that store, you're giving them your name and address anyway. Whenever you go to Amazon, you're giving them your name and address anyway. The only difference is in a store, at least, you can walk in and pay cash. Amazon, you can't, but you can at least pay cash. And so that store that requires you to scan something has just removed the cash option altogether.
Most places have removed cash. We went last week. We took our annual trip. We have a minor league baseball team for the Cleveland Indians that's in right up the road from us. And we once a year in the spring we go to a game. We get huge discounts off tickets and food because the kids go to the schools that get the kids to go. We do that every year. And we got there, and they do not take cash at all anymore. They won't accept it. You have to use a card, and they strongly prefer that you use an app. They make it way harder to even use a card. So you can't use cash. They make it very difficult to use a card. They want you using an app to make that payment. So just fighting with my son. My son is going to be 16 in the fall, and so he's getting his learner's permit. And he got his first job, so they needed direct deposit. Do you understand how difficult it is to get a kid his own account? Now, I get it because he's under 18 and isn't subject, so they won't issue him even a debit card because that can be, there's legal, with what he buys and all that. He can only have an ATM card. But here's the kicker, and this is why I went off on my tangent a few minutes ago. My kid got Cash App because you can get Cash App at 15. So he downloaded Cash App. He linked it to one of our bank accounts. He's all set up. They sent him a debit card. I mean, perfect banking, perfect way to go. The payroll company refused to direct deposit to that routing number because it's Cash App. So he couldn't get. And that's why I said they're colluding all the way around. All these people like to collude. So if I wanted direct deposit to Cash App, would my payroll company do that? I don't know.
That's funny.
I don't know if it's just for young people or if they've just said we're not buying into this Cash App thing because you're not using a traditional bank for whatever reason.
Oh, totally.
But that's still censorship. That's crap. If I give you a number and say deposit my money here, fuck you, deposit my money there.
Well,
I think that's nuts.
Okay. I would say that your payroll check is used to depositing in banks, and your banks actually have their own sets of rules. Now, you can't say, go to this treasure chest and convert your stuff to coins and deposit in this treasure chest because that's not the same as a bank. So in that sense, they can say that they don't support crypto or they don't support this kind of transaction. But what gets me is if Cash App, they just don't support those kind of transactions.
Yeah, and that's crap to me. But that's a whole nother cast. Anyway, getting back to after going down the rabbit hole on that, if Europe and Asia and heck, even Russia, Australia, any of these people and countries come out with these regulations to make it simple and easy, and the United States is the only one that drags their feet and doesn't do it, we're screwed, man. We're totally screwed over here.
They're using that as a way to control the world. Basically, they're going to do it to see how far they can get with it until the rest of the world just goes its own way without the United States, and then the United States will eventually fold and do it that way. But I don't know how long that could take. That could take 5 years. It could take 50. There's lots of, there's things that are legal in other countries that are illegal here. And for the longest time, you could smoke pot in other countries, but not here. So that's an example where the United States is starting to fold and going, well, we'll do it for this jurisdiction. But the thing is, they've if we were to talk about pot, weed, the United States has spent so long demonizing drugs and demonizing weed to where now everybody all the states in the United States are all like, well, is this bad? Is this good? And they're starting to dial in, okay, weed isn't that bad. People smoke, weed actually isn't that big of a deal. And so slowly the states are kind of coming online. I'm hoping that doesn't happen that way with crypto, but that's why we actually need some political governmental leadership on this. But remember, the government, in my opinion, the government doesn't know how to solve banking issues. If you were to go back to 2009, when everything fell apart and Bitcoin was invented for that reason, you had two presidents at the time. You had Bush and Obama, one from each side, the political spectrum. You had one conservative and one liberal. And Bush, what'd he do? He did what the bankers said. He printed more money. Obama, he came in, what'd he do? He did what the banker said. He printed money. And what that said to me is neither of them have no fucking clue. Neither side has no fucking clue on what to do about our failing money system. So they're just going to keep it going. Meanwhile, something new comes along like Bitcoin. It starts gaining in popularity. The politicians still don't know what to do about the failing money system, but they certainly don't want somebody else coming into it and taking the whole equation out of their hands. They don't want an alternate money system to come into place that they don't control. And so that's why you see the United States starting to do things like, well, we like a what do you call that? The U.S. coin, CB something.
CBDC?
Central bank digital currency. They're like, okay, we can do crypto. Let's do a central bank digital currency. Well, that's centralized. That's not decentralized like crypto. So they're trying to say, oh, well, this is the same thing. No, it's not. I mean, yes, it uses some of the features of crypto, but it's like taking the wheels off of a car, and putting it on skis. It's like, no. So there's Bitcoin and crypto is a demonstratively better way of doing these things. It quantifies monetary transactions into real units, whereas regular bank transactions aren't quantified. There's a lot of wink, wink, nudge, nudge going on. If you send money from one bank to another bank, or even overseas, there's a lot of, did we send you the money? I don't know. Let's look on paper. Did the money get sent? Okay, I guess it got sent. Okay, well, then the money got transferred. Well, Bitcoin has a ledger that you can just go check the ledger. Well, in regular money, each bank has to look at their ledger, and hopefully they line up. And if they don't, well, then who's going to pay? You're going to suffer. So they got this sloppy system that doesn't work very well, and Bitcoin has something that works instantly, every transaction, all the time. It's a better technology.
Well, and there's no way to put people in the middle of that either. So that is another big threat to their system.
Well, a middleman is how the capitalistic world, how the world has made money since day one. It's if you're going to sell something and somebody else is going to buy something, the middleman is there to facilitate the transaction, hopefully to make things easier. And that's run the world. That's why we have so many services in this world, is because people need help doing things. Well, you don't really need help with Bitcoin if it's all automatic. But we're all
and
used
it's and it's
to
instant.
banks doing stuff for us.
I could jump on Lightning and send you or Glitch, who's halfway around the world, instantly. Within 5 seconds, it's in your wallet and spendable.
Well, with XRP, yeah.
Well,
With Bitcoin,
Lightning too
takes a little bit long. Well, yeah. Okay. Well, wait a minute. Lightning has its own uniqueness about it. Lightning requires Vostro and Nostro account still. XRP does not. I just want to make that clear.
Oh, here we go, back down the XRP train.
Here we go. That's literally how it works.
No, I understand.
Lightning at least interfaces to the existing monetary system well. XRP requires an exchange in order for that stuff to happen. Great. It's as easy as sending an email. If Nostro and Vostro accounts are basically, well, the money doesn't really exist unless it's on the other side, and they can subtract money from their ledger, you can add it to yours, and if you get that mixed up, there's still possibility for problems. At least though, with Lightning you have an additional ledger to verify against. Great. And you can do it quickly. Great, but you still have to have those accounts. So, okay, it's maybe a baby quarter step in the right direction.
Still better than what we got, no matter what token or coin that you use.
Sure, yeah, it's better than what we got, definitely.
And people determine the value of things. Anything can be used as money. And your sign on your wall or your beautiful library things, card catalogs, there we go. Those can be used as money because they can be exchanged for a lawnmower. Somebody might have a lawnmower you want, and they want your...
Oh, that's called barter. The reason you can't use card catalogs is you need a standard. Not everybody has them.
No, it's not a standard, but it's an exchange of value. Money is nothing more than an exchange of value. Right?
Well, okay. No,
so if two people can agree...
Money is an abstracted exchange of value. When you're saying something is nothing more than an exchange of value, you're leaving out the best part, which is the abstraction that money provides. And Bitcoin provides too, by the way.
Well, I could turn around and sell, if I trade you for your card catalogs, I could turn around and sell those card catalogs for physical money too. But it's an exchange of value. If two people can agree on what money is...
That's called bartering.
It doesn't matter what it's called. It's still a monetary transaction. It's value for value.
No.
Because what's valuable to me...
It's not a monetary transaction if you exchange one of these card catalogs for skateboard or something. That's a barter transaction.
Okay, so then
I'm
NFTs...
just making it clear that
then NFTs are the same way because somebody might value the Town of the Prince and trade it for something else, right? So then that's not a monetary transaction is what you're trying to tell me?
Nope. Exchanging one NFT for another NFT would not be a monetary transaction. It'd be akin to a barter transaction. Since it's not...
So then...
This is not regulated and defined. You could call it an NFT transaction.
Token buying a transaction then is a barter.
Yeah, sure. Why not?
Then why are we subject to monetary rules?
Wait a minute. You have a monetary. If money is part of it, then it's a monetary transaction.
It's a token. It's not money, right? You just said so.
I kept up with you.
No, you didn't.
Yeah, you did.
Now he's walking it back. Walk it back, Faz. Walk it back.
Okay, you can say whatever you want, but it's not true. So what's neat about NFTs is the fact that you can encapsulate value into some sort of standardized package. That's awesome, because if you wanted to barter, I don't know, eggs for cows, you're going to have to take care of the eggs and take care of the cows. But if you can make everything electronic, virtual eggs for virtual cows, great. They're all called NFTs now, and that's puts them in a nice category where the value is standardized. Great.
Ooh, there we go. We could start a farm and NFT the cows, and people could buy the cows for the meat or the milk or a live cow using NFTs. Why aren't farmers getting on that?
So that's what Mirandus is doing.
That's a game. I'm talking about in real life. I'm talking about out in the middle of Colorado.
Game economies are going to rival real life economies, and that's something also the U.S. government really doesn't like because they really can't control that. I see the IRS does Doesn't seem to agree with Faz. Well, the IRS wants to call everything a money transaction. So if you were to barter something, they're going to say what's the current value of this, and you owe that current value.
Right. It's what I said. It's value for value.
Which would according to the taxman, they want their cut. It's still not a monetary transaction, but the IRS is going to value it so that they can pull the tax out. There's no contradiction there.
Well, okay, so people have tried and failed to argue that wages are a barter too. You're exchanging your labor for dollar bills for a value.
I said if dollar bills are on one, if money is on one side of it, then it's not a barter. So. Well, at least my craziness.
So if they pay me in Bitcoin, then since you seem to think that that's not money,
that's property according to the United States government.
It's property, so I'm trading my labor for property, so I don't have to pay tax on that.
Yes.
Yeah, I don't have to pay tax on that.
Unfortunately,
my labor is way more valuable than that Bitcoin.
The same goes with barter. If you were to do barter with everything physical instead of NFTs, the United States government, the IRS is going to say the same thing. They're going to say, "What's the value of that? You're charged taxes for that too." So it doesn't matter. You can if you're trading NFTs or trading chickens for cows, they're still going to tax you the same way. They're going to say what it's worth, and if you don't come up with one, they'll come up with one, and they're going to use whatever method that they want, which is why you have an opportunity to say, I use this market down the street to buy and sell my cows and eggs, and this is its apparent dollar value, so you're going to get $50 or so much
and
percent
that
this transaction.
Is exactly why they want to call crypto securities, because if they can regulate it, there's a guarantee they can assign a value to it.
Is that
whereas
a
now,
now
they can't.
My thought is they want to call crypto securities because if they can regulate it, then they can control it. And then they can say, you literally cannot trade Bitcoin unless these things happen. We need to know the name, social security number, and phone number of every single transaction that you do, which they have asked for in situations. They want KYC.
They put that out there in that one bill that we argued about.
And so if they can successfully regulate it the way that they want, then they can control it, and then they can. Well, they can just control it. They can't control Bitcoin, but they can control what you do when you get it, and that's the same thing. They just want to control it. That's really it.
That's all the control they can get out of it is holding you accountable for transactions.
Well, they make it to where they want you to feel like you're being protected because they're being a watchdog, and great. But how far does that go? I mean, you're blowing vape smoke all over your room right now. If I was in your house, I don't want to be protected by the government that I won't get vape smoke blown in my face. That's my own business if I want vape smoke blown in my face. You wouldn't want the government in your house telling you what you can and can't do. I mean, at that point, where's your freedom? Where's your privacy?
I don't know. Ask Alexa. You think they're not reading those logs at the NSA?
So my 2 cents on that is that they need the storage capacity in order to record everything that's going on, and I don't think that they have the the practical ability to do that, because that's what the NSA does. The NSA could do that, but I don't think that the NSA is completely in that whole setup. I think they want to be. I think they want to be. And yes, that's a big problem with. I mean, the same thing goes with Siri. Everybody with an iPhone. You have an iPhone.
Yep.
Siri on your phone.
Oh, they listen. I get ads almost instantly for shit that I talk about, even when my phone is silent.
Let's not use that for a reasoning either, because when you get ads, you'd be surprised at how targeted an ad can be. You'd be surprised how targeted an ad can be just by learning very small things about you. Yes, the storage capacity is definitely there. I said the practical ability, which means it takes time and labor to process all these messages and get all the information out of them, transfer it to other places. And no, it's not that they can't physically do it. There's a practical thing. It's like, do you have a car? Yes. Can you practically go 100 miles an hour in it? Well, you could physically go 100 miles an hour with it, but practically not for very long. It's how much time, and I mean, do you have how much money you want to put into the car to keep it going and keep it serviced and stuff like that? They don't have a practical ability to do that with everybody all the time.
Oh, yeah, because I was going to go there, M-Ice. I was going to say, you want to know about privacy, you just got to get a hold of Edward Snowden or Julian Assange, and they'll tell you about your precious privacy.
Oh, they'll tell you about if it's possible to do it, that means the government can get it. So the only thing I think that's probably protecting a lot of people right now is the fact that they're not famous. If the government gets interested in you for any reason, they can certainly, they're certainly set up to tap everything you have, and they wouldn't be doing it at the I don't know, at the Siri level. I think they'd be doing it at the hardware level of the phone, personally.
Yeah,
because that's
a big rabbit hole.
They don't even want Siri knowing about what they're collecting from you. There's another problem is if you collect all that data, people's phone batteries are going to die a lot quicker. If you're recording 24/7, so you're either going to have to be very creative, or you're going to have to not record as much. You're going to have to find different information. The practical ability is not completely there yet, but that's fine. The government can just go surveil your house once they use Siri to find out where you live and stuff like that, and then they use their more traditional methods, in my opinion.
So you've heard it first here from Faz himself. If your battery on your phone is draining very quickly, you've got spooks chasing you.
No, that was an oversimplification. I'm saying that if they do that, that would likely drain your battery quickly. Or it could be that your OS is old. Or it could be give you too much shit on your phone. Or maybe you should close some of the fucking tabs on your fucking laptop. I mean, there's 500,000 reasons why your battery can go down.
You are a closeted tinfoil hat wearing American. I know it.
You know,
deep down inside.
The tinfoil hat people love to accuse other people of tinfoil hatness. And
I know I wear one.
As bad as
There's
me.
No doubt I wear one.
I'm a conscientious objector. I don't like to listen and repeat what other people say. I like to at least run it through my brain first. And people have a point when they say you can be spied on. Yes, you totally can be. People have a point when they say that here's all these abuses that can happen. Yes. The question is it happening as much as they say? Most likely not. Not with not with you, not with other people. They go after specific people for specific reasons. Now,
they search for keywords.
Well, that's how they get started, and then they use other methods. I mean, again, tapping your phone all the time is going to be used for very specific things because you don't want the phone to die really quickly if you're tapping their phone all the time. So you want to be strategic.
So M-Ice, let me ask you this. You seem to be an expert on that. What do you think about the graphene OS? Is that as secure as they say it is? Hey, Rocket Life. I'd like to know that because I'm thinking about with this old Pixel I got. I was thinking about trying graphene. I'm a flasher. I used to be on the original Android. The Samsung Galaxy line started with the Fascinate, and that's where I learned how to ROM swap. So I'm very familiar with that, and I was thinking about trying graphene. Rocket Life, yeah. Well, so we were a little bit behind tonight for this, so I'm sorry you missed the beginning. We're trying to be as consistent as we all can be, especially for Fridays. We started about 8:45 Eastern instead of 8:30 like we normally do. And we're running up on an hour now. I'm glad that we had this conversation because I think a lot of people panicked when they saw those lawsuits. I'm not panicked. I haven't sold anything. I keep everything. I have probably a grand total of $500 spread out on 2 exchanges. One of them is Kraken. I have a little bit of stuff over there. I do enjoy that platform. And I have a bunch of little shit coins on Coinbase that I did their Coinbase earn thing. So I have probably $100 in Coinbase earnings sitting over there. It's not even enough to transfer because I have like 1,000 of them, and they're all like $2.09 worth of tokens. So the majority of it, vast majority of it's on my hardware wallet, and I keep a handy little stash in some hot wallets in case there's anything cool I want to buy. Oh, a reminder, we haven't reminded people in a while as we tail out of here too. Make sure you keep up on your renewals for your .eth addresses. I almost lost one of my .eth addresses because I forgot to renew it, and they promised sending you an email, and I never got it. I think my spam filter got it. So go check those. If you're a Flare or Songbird person, you need to go in every couple of weeks and you need to claim your distributions. If you don't claim, Flare just burned like 51 million Flare tokens because they weren't claimed. So remember to go in and claim your distributions if you're in those ecosystems. Renew your .eth addresses. Check on your NFTs every so often. Some of the staking programs, I forgot. I don't know if you remember this, but probably a year ago, I forget the guy's name. He was in our Discord. He was pushing that Ohm. Do you remember the Ohm staking?
Vaguely. Yeah, vaguely.
Yeah. So I told him the one day, I said, we were in CFA, and I said, look, if I go and join that platform, will you stop talking about it in here? And he's like, yes. So I went and I put $1,000 in there. And I went, I'm terrible with time. I'm going to guess like 2 months ago. I finally remembered it. And I went, oh, shit, I got stuff over there. I pulled out what I put in. So I didn't lose anything over there. So I thought that was kind of cool.
Did you buy the drip token? There was a guy who came and talked about the drip token.
No, I never bought drip. I disclosed this 3 casts ago, or whatever. I did buy into the Playable after we interviewed them, and I bought some more Playable. They have an entire blockchain they created now, and I posted in CFA. I tried their new bridge, and I did a test of a small, like $3 worth of tokens. They got locked up. There was a glitch. They fixed it, and my tokens showed up yesterday. So I didn't have to do anything, didn't have to put a ticket in. They're on top of their game. They're bumping their heads on a few things, but so far it seems to be running great. It is complicated. That's a bitch that I've had with Gala and some others. They've got to make it simpler because I had to jump through a few hoops to buy their new token. They did an airdrop because they switched chains on their original tokens. So you had to go find those, and you had to add this and go here, and you can't just buy them on a regular Trader Joe anymore. You got to go to a new contract. I mean, it was kind of a mess. They've got to clean that stuff up. But I did it so I knew how to do it in the future. I'm still interested in Audacity. I've been participating over there. I've put a few tickets in there, and Raul has taken very good care of me with any of the issues that I've had. They're growing. Their Discord's completely different. They've rebranded into RateXU. So these updates on a lot of these platforms that we've been with, I've kept up with them. That's why I'm usually not in CFA very much if I'm not building websites or building my own stuff so I can break free of the matrix and do my own thing. I'm catching up on a lot of these older projects that we've interviewed and that we've talked about on here. I'm trying to keep up as best I possibly can. Holochain, we did the Holo update. There's a new alpha now with that. They're paying out Holo tokens, so I'm part of that. I'm communicating over on their message boards. They're starting to make a lot more progress. A lot of good things happening in crypto, even though the market is in flux, I guess is the best way to put it.
I posted some good news on CFA. Maybe that was the European stuff, the fact that Europe is doing so well. By the way, are we going to address this thing on the bottom of the screen, or are you just going to ignore it and leave it up all the time?
No, I had asked him about graphene, and he answered, but I went on a diatribe.
So he said
haven't looked into it.
He was basically saying that apparently encoding and decoding is a very low wattage thing on phones now. So that might be a little bit of levity to what I was saying about practical ability. I still don't think, for reasons that I can't really define, that the U.S. government is. I still do not get the sense that the U.S. government is spying on everybody all the time for all the things, including your purchase history, so that they can advertise to you. If the U.S. government is spying on you, they're spying on you for their purposes, and they're kind of deciding when and where to spy on you. As far as who hears you make a comment so that something gets recommended on Amazon, that's not the government. You're implying that that Amazon hears every single thing that everybody says, or at least you. And I disagree with that. They don't have the practical capability of doing that, and there's laws that I believe that would break. There's spying laws that would break. So
and there's people in jail for that. Don't forget that exposed that.
So anyway.
Addressing the rest, yes, I've been disclosing MICE the same things. I've sold a lot of my holdings previously as well. I've pared down my holdings over the last 6 months tremendously. I would say about half. I've pared down about half of what I used to hold in tokens. The only gala that I hold now is what I earn from the node distributions. And once that peaks, I'll probably sell that again. I'm not holding gala tokens anymore. Glitch hardware wallet. I'm using Ledger. However, I have not updated since that kerfuffle opened up, and nor will I update until I am comfortable enough.
So you're forced
to.
Until
I'm comfortable enough with what they're doing. I am looking at other hardware wallet options. I want something open source, and I want something that's recommended by some of the top security professionals out there. And until that happens, I'm just standing pat. I figure I'm okay as long as I don't update my software. I'm hoping they didn't push things early and just use the update to turn it on. I don't connect my ledger unless I'm doing a transaction. I disconnect it immediately after. And the bulk of my assets, 80+% of them, are on a hardware wallet as we speak. I got about 15% in a hot wallet and 5% like that sitting on exchanges would be my best guess. I wouldn't even say exchanges, like rando wallets, rando hot wallets. I only got like $500 or so on exchanges. That's way less. So I keep it locked up. Where'd you go? Faz disappeared on me. So I take that very seriously. I don't want my shit stolen. I only interact with MetaMask. There he is. He popped back in. I only interact with MetaMask when I have to, and I regularly, this is something you guys ought to do as well. Go through your Trust wallet, your Exodus wallet, your MetaMask, anything you connect to dApps with, and if you can see where those connections are active. If you're not using that or rarely using it, pull that permission back out of there. You don't need to have those sitting in there active. Those are exploitable points that people can use to get into your wallets. audit those every so often, every 6 months or so. Vow to yourself you're going to go in there, you're going to revoke those permissions that you granted previously. Using that Ohm, when I got out of the Ohm, I went into MetaMask and I closed that connection so that they don't have permission for my wallet any longer. So audit yourself on those every so often. Don't forget to do that. That's really, really important. You can also go to Etherscan, and there's a special little place in there where you can go and revoke permissions on the chain side as well. Not only from your wallet, but in the chain. So keep up on those as well. It takes you an hour every 6 months, and your security is jacked up tremendously by doing that.
All right. So I need to get going, and you probably need to get going with all the websites you're maintaining right now.
Yeah, I'm working some more tonight. I worked on my wife's ghost site. I worked on the 2 client sites. I got those migrated over. A couple other ones are in the works. I set up the Faz Radio and CryptoFaz Academy and ZipBugs, so I can start building on those. And as soon as you change your name host, it'll connect. But it's okay; they're not built yet. It's not a big hurry. I'm working on 2 of mine. Yeah, no, it's not the DNS. It's the host name. DNS will resolve itself.
Then you need to send me that information so I can change it.
I did. I shot it in our private chat.
All right. I'll take a look at that.
So I'm going to be doing my sites tonight, revamping those, and be moving on. I haven't forgot about you guys. I try and pop into Discord whenever I can. I've had some good conversations this week with a couple people, but I am nose down trying to break free of the matrix. I'm building on my own and doing Faz radios. So I am still here. I am still engaged. I'm still following everything. I'm just a lot quieter until I get all this taken care of.
And I'm quieter for a lot of other reasons. So hopefully we'll be able to spin things up a little bit more soon.
We're trying. We're far more engaged today than we were 3 months ago because you had stuff going on. I had stuff going on.
This is also a bear market. I can guarantee people will be more engaged during a bull market. But the good news is we're still here every week engaging regardless. So.
Yeah, we're committed to that. So love the conversations. Keep it up in CFA. The other Discords we're all friends in as well. Those are rolling along fantastic. There's a lot of positivity, and I want to commend everybody for that. With how things have shaken out and with these lawsuits and these scare tactics and everything else, people are, the vast majority is positive. And if you want to affect change, you have to affect it in a positive way. So everybody's spirits are still up. I love it. I love seeing that.
Great. All right. And on that note, let's can it.
All right. That sounds good. I was reading the rest of the comments. Rocket Life, sorry you were late. I've seen some of the stuff. By the way, I've seen your Twitter posts about the stuff you're engaged in. I'm loving it. Keep going. Keep doing what you're doing. I do like it, even though I haven't engaged as much as I used to. M-Ice, Bear Smash Whiplash, and have to remain positive. BTC 8 to 12K wouldn't surprise me. I would love that. I would stack sats at monumental rates at that point. If that dropped to 8 or 12, I'd be mortgaging my house at 7%. I don't care about the interest rate. I'd be buying it. Glitch, thanks for coming. As always, our regular showed up. Thank you so much. We will catch you next week, hopefully on Thursday. We won't have scheduling conflicts. Hopefully we'll be here Thursday and Friday next week. That's it. Take care. I got to find that damn button. Where's my banners? Brand. Sorry, wrong one. Ah!